It's time for another edition of Singles Only Podcast. My name is Paul Farvar. I am your host for the 220-something time. This is a fun episode with comedian from Kansas City, Brittany Thailander. So funny. If you are listening to it on audio, you might want to hop over and watch it on YouTube when it's available there, because you can watch our faces. We're laughing and we're melting faces with our amazing episode. I love this episode. Super fun listening to her talk about her adventures in singlehood as a bisexual comedian in Kansas City. And I learned a lot about all kinds of things. I don't want to spoil it for you. Anyway, I'm back on the road. If you're listening to this, currently there hasn't been any cancellations in a while for purposes of COVID, maybe canceling for other things. But paulfcomedy.com are my upcoming dates. I have some shows. I'm headlining at the House of Comedy in Arizona on August 21st, and then I've got some other shows there, as well as upcoming shows in Chicago, Lamont, and a new series in the suburbs of Chicago. So I hope to see you guys out there, and I hope these shows don't get canceled, and I hope you guys enjoy this episode. Subscribe, review, email me too, pfarvar@gmail.com if you want to talk about anything, or I am going to have another review mail and review my reviews. But please review me again. It really helps. And also, please check out our sponsors. Before I succumbed to the pressures of getting Netflix and Hulu, I was an avid reader. I still am, but I'm behind on my books. I used to read a bunch of books, mostly memoirs, biographies, nonfiction stuff. And as you all know, one of my favorite books is Perfect Pain by Param Parasaran, a good friend of mine. It's an awesome memoir and it's a true story, about how he fled Iran as a child and lived up this perfect life that we all are sold as a multimillionaire, successful businessman. But he had underlying pain and issues that he had not resolved. And this is what he did on his journey. It's an amazing book. I can't tell you how awesome it is. If you haven't read it already, I strongly recommend it. And I still have some free books to give away too. So for you listeners, subscribers, if you give us a 5-star review, I will send you a free book. I've got about 7 left right now. And it's a great book, perfectpain.com, available on Amazon. It has been discounted because he wants to get rid of his batch of books. Perfectpain.com, or go to Amazon, get the book. And if you've read the book already, give him a review too. We want to give him the Farvar bump. Perfectpain.com by Param Parasaran, or message me and I can maybe send you a book for the right price for free. No, I'm just kidding. Perfectpain.com. Hey all. Paul Farvar here, your singles only host and date coach in a way, right? We all know that I'm not a professional and I love giving people advice, but I sometimes can't. It's out my pay grade. I can't handle some of the stuff that people need, and you need sometimes a professional relationship coach. That's why I've teamed up with Relationship Hero to provide that service to my fans, friends, podcast listeners. If you're struggling with a breakup or real relationship issues, sometimes you just can't rely on friends like myself and your circle of friends. You need professional relationship advice, and that's what Relationship Hero does. RelationshipHero.com. Check them out. You can talk to them. You can show them text messages, and they'll give you an expert analysis. They do outside the box thinking. That's why I signed up with them, to be honest with you. I read one of their reviews a couple days ago. Jeff wrote, excellent advice was given, gave him a 5-star review. They think outside the box to give you honesty and compassion. You can tell they are extremely qualified. Now, I'm not extremely qualified, right? We all know that. I'm a comedian, former lawyer, former musician. I have zero professional analysis and relationship experience or training. They do. You need to use them. And here's what we're going to do. If you go to the website, relationshiphero.com/singles only, you are going to get $50 off your first 1-hour session. relationshiphero.com/singles only. Check it out. Tell them I sent you, but they'll know because you're using the link. And I think it's going to give you the advice you need. You can call them, you can show them texts, you can do everything. They are there for you. Check them out, relationshiphero.com. You're welcome. Hey guys, it's time. What? Let's see. Is it recording? Yeah, we're recording. It's time for another edition of Singles Only Podcast. If you're watching this on YouTube, welcome. And if you're listening on audio, this one is done on Zoom because that's the way the world works now. I'm your host, Paul Farvar. Thank you for listening. On this show, we don't have a voice of reason, but we do have an amazing guest. I got to do a show with her in Kansas City, and she was hilarious. Comedian Brittany Thailander. Hi, Brittany.
Hi, how are you?
Oh, I'm great. So good to see you again. It was so fun. We did a show outside at Knuckleheads. It was like a venue for live music, and it was so fun being back out on the road. And that show was super cool. And
that's like a honky tonk venue.
Yeah, there was a lot of my friend Marty DeRosa and I have a podcast, and I was sending him pictures of all the country artists that have now been canceled. So I was like, oh, here you go. Here's a guy, he used the N-word in his hit song. You're welcome.
Yeah.
But,
half those guys on the wall like had t-shirts with the Confederate flag on them. So
yes. And I think half of their comments were like, the South lives again. No, I don't know if that's accurate, but I just said that to you.
Marty DeRosa was the first person I ever I had like a guest spot at the Comedy Club on State, and he was the first person I performed with at the Comedy Club.
Marty's we have a podcast called Make Us a Mixtape. He's one of my favorite people, and he acts as the voice of he acts as the voice of reason sometimes because now he is so reasonable. But speaking of unreasonable, singlehood, you're single.
Yeah, I sure am.
In Kansas City, so you moved there, and you didn't move? Why did you move to Kansas City? Or tell us that.
Well, I had just recently gotten sober, and I wanted to get out of Wisconsin because it's hard to be sober in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
So I moved back to Kansas City, where I'm originally from, and I've been back here for about a year now.
Okay. So how would you describe dating in Kansas City without using the word nightmare? Like, how would you describe it, how it's different than what you hear? I mean, you've probably seen other people talk about dating in big cities. You dated in Madison. What's different there? Because I only spent 3 hours there.
Well, I think this goes for like any city in the Midwest. On dating apps, there's like a lot of guys holding fish. A lot of that. A lot of just carrying the conversation. And that's always really fun.
But Kansas is a bigger city, but it's kind of like a small city feel. Do you find yourselves knowing people, or like there being like 6 degrees of separation, or people have seen you doing stand up and they're like, I saw you?
Yes, 100%. I feel like honestly, like during COVID, kind of the only way to meet people right now is on dating apps. And I feel like dating apps, you're not really getting like the cream of the crop as far as the dating pool here. Okay. I don't feel like cool people use dating apps anymore, but like
really?
What the fuck else am I supposed to do? Yeah.
I think more people are using dating apps, cool or uncool, than ever before. And I think the COVID made it the only way for even people in cool cities like Chicago. But yeah, I assume in Kansas City, it's a little more, people are hoping to meet people organically there, because that's just a little more old school than a progressive city.
Right. I guess without calling it a nightmare, I would call it challenging in like every sense of the word. So like COVID's happening, like you're not supposed to spit in people's mouths anymore. Like I'm not allowed to do that. So that's difficult. Like I can't find a lot of things in common with people. I'm sober. And I feel like every guy is always like, hey, you want to grab a drink? And I'm like, actually, I put it in my actual bio, the words. It said that I was sober, and you did not read that. You just saw this body and this face, and you were like, right,
well,
you know?
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. And then, being like a bisexual woman, that's difficult to like find a man who doesn't try to like fetishize that or like understand it, you know. And then the women, like, you know, it's Kansas City, there's like 7 gay people. I'm just kidding. There's lots of gay women
No,
here.
but that's what I was going to ask that, because I'm like, you probably don't see a lot of people that are at least out of the closet dating in.
I mean, a decent. No, there's a very large gay
12?
scene here. Yeah, there's at least 12 or 15. No, there's definitely like a decent amount. A lot of musicians, a lot of artists. So I definitely have better luck in the gay pool rather than like the guy,
Cool.
you know, trying to date straight guys. Yeah, I try to avoid dating straight guys if I'm being really honest.
What's the longest that you've dated a man versus a woman?
I mean, I've been in like a long-term relationship with a man, but I haven't been in a long-term relationship with a woman. I've just dated women.
Okay. So what's the longest you've dated a woman, I suppose?
I would say that I dated her like 6 months, but if she were to answer that question, she would be like, honey, we were just best friends for 6 months.
Oh my God. Okay.
And that's pretty telling to like a female relationship.
When did you discover that you were bisexual, I guess? How old were you when you figured that out?
Well, Demi Lovato's video for Cool for the Summer came out in 2014. So,
okay.
No, I remember the signs were early on, like Laura Dern in Jurassic Park.
Okay.
Big moment for me.
Really? Why? Why is that?
Do you remember those khaki shorts?
Well, first of all, I didn't see the movie, so I never see any movies you're supposed to see. But it was, I wanted to know if it was like a physical connection to her character or something.
Well, she is a stunning, timeless beauty. She is a talented actress. And she just looks like she would like spit in your face and like.
There's a lot of spitting I've noticed in your discussions.
I'm really single and really horny, okay?
Is that a thing that you're into, being spitting on or being the spittee?
Yeah, just both.
Okay.
Yeah, like both of it's good.
In the person's mouth or just on their face? Okay.
Yeah. Just if you name any part of the body, I'm going to be like, yeah.
Okay, so sure. When did you discover you like the spitting, I suppose? Let's get that. We'll table the Laura Dern conversation.
Okay.
So
Put
spitting,
a pin in that.
how did you find out that was something you were into?
Year before last, I started dating this guy from Chicago. And then we were having sex and he told me to open up my mouth and I was like, okay, while we were like fooling around, and then he spit in my mouth and I was shocked.
Sure.
And so turned on.
What is it that makes, is it an intimacy thing or like a
no, it's like
physical,
it's a dominance thing. Yeah.
Got you. Okay.
For sure.
Got it.
It's like a degrading dominance thing.
But then did you also, then that same gentleman, did you spit in him?
I never spat in his mouth. No.
Okay. But as you spit on his body, like his face? Okay, fair enough.
Not in his face, just on his body.
Okay, on his person.
A part of his body.
Understood. Did he did you say I'm gonna spit on you, or just kind of like? No,
you just do it. You never. Yeah, like if he were to be like, open your mouth, I'm gonna spit in your mouth, I'd be like, what? You know what I mean? But okay. He just did it, and then I was like, oh, that's a new thing I didn't know.
You enjoyed.
I really enjoyed. I'm glad I did enjoy it, because that would be.
Yeah, because if he said, hey, open your mouth, I'm gonna spit in your mouth, you probably wouldn't have. You would have been like, green eggs and ham. I don't like that. But
no,
now
I probably still would have done it.
Okay.
But I probably wouldn't have liked it because he said what he was going to do.
Right. The element of surprise helps assist this thing. Now, since that time, has this also been something where other people have asked you to do it, or you've asked people to do it? Because I've never experienced that on either side.
Okay, while I was in Milwaukee, I was dating this guy. This is the most embarrassing thing I will say on this whole segment, this whole show.
Oh, there's a lot of time left.
Oh no, this is a deep, dark, shameful thing for me. I dated a guy in Milwaukee who had adult braces.
Okay. That's not embarrassing yet.
No, it shouldn't be, but it's like, I'm not embarrassed by somebody spitting in my mouth. I'm embarrassed that I like dated somebody for a very short period of time that had adult braces.
Okay.
But I made a joke to him in passing, like, yeah, that's hot, like spit on my mouth, and kind of like, I'll plant the seed. And he did it. He spit in my mouth. But I think you know what happens with people with adult braces. They have a lot of food and like things in their mouth. So I straight up got half of a pinto bean spat into my mouth.
Yeah. You're like, wow, it smells like burritos right now. Oh, yeah. So the element of surprise only works if there's no particles involved.
There was like a grocery list of reasons why I never wanted to date somebody with adult braces. And it wasn't until I like felt it like in my mouth, on my tongue, that I was like, that's another reason to add to the list of to never date somebody with adult braces.
Okay, fair enough. So you have to wait till 6 to 8 months till those come off where you can do that again. Okay.
Yeah, he was also just like kind of a funny little character. Yeah.
Oh, I bet. I already know 2 things about him that are funny. So, okay, so that's something you learned from this guy, and now you request it. And is there a way to trigger people to know that you're into that stuff? Like is there like something online? Because I know there's a site called Felt where you can list your things that you're into. Is that something is there a code word for spitting on one of those, on the apps or something?
No, I don't. If there is, I do not know. But I don't think I'm gonna start like request it anymore. Okay. Or like, what I used to do is like joke about it, like or kind of pass it off. If you ever want something but you don't want to be like, I want it, you joke about it. Like, we are comedians. That's how we get through any difficult moment in our life. We resort to humor. But I'm not going to ask for that from people anymore, because I feel like too many people have spat in my mouth at this point. And it's something that I've thought about a lot during quarantine and during COVID.
Yeah. Now you got to kind of wait.
People to like have spit in my mouth.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it sounds gross to some people perhaps, but essentially, even if you're kissing someone, that's the same amount of saliva, unless they cock a loogie, which I'm assuming they're not doing.
It is not. It is not a phlegmy spit.
Right.
It is a very like saliva pulling it from my mouth spit. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
So back to Jurassic Park. So you watch the movie, and then Demi Lovato's video comes out in 2014, and the seeds were planted with the khaki shorts.
The seeds were planted all throughout my childhood. Just so many moments that, there were so many
Did
seeds.
you grew up in Kansas City?
Yeah.
Okay. A suburb, or like how big was it?
A suburb of Kansas City, so like Raytown, it's where like the stadiums are. So it's very close. Like parts of Raytown are considered Kansas City.
So it was a big enough school where there might have been other people who were also curious or gay as well. They just didn't
we had like an LGBTQ alliance club, but I didn't come out in high school. I was obviously like an ally, or whatever. I would like consider myself an ally. Yeah. But I never I was in a long-term relationship from 19 to 27, 28. And it was with a guy, and we were like monogamous for most of it. So I wasn't able to date women. Yeah. I wasn't able to like date women until we opened up the relationship, and then that's when we broke up.
You had an open relationship because why? Why do you think that? Was that like a symptom of the relationship not working, or you think?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think it was one
That's
of
nice.
those. Yeah, I think it was one of those.
Did you like? Was it something that you guys were like, hey, what do you want to do? You're like, let's watch Jurassic Park. Like you just kept watching it and listening to Demi Lovato to like kind
Yeah.
of.
Yeah, I was always wanting to watch like Jurassic Park. I was always wanting to watch Now and Then with like a young Christina Ricci. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Now,
Not
do
as
you?
like an adult, I thought that she was hot, but like again, whenever I was a kid, I like really loved Christina Ricci.
Oh, I met Christina Ricci.
Just beautiful.
That's a funny
Love her.
story. She was very, very, very mean to me.
That's so hot to me. Like if she were to be mean to me, that would be hot. But the fact that she was mean to another man, it's even hotter.
So I'll tell you the story off of the thing. If people want to know it, message me and I'll tell you. But that's too long a story. But I'll tell you when we're done. It's a funny story. But I probably have to get permission from someone to tell it live. But anyway, do you want to? Do you? I know you talk about dating in your stand up and you're single now. Do you see yourself wanting to have a traditional marriage, getting married, whether it's with a guy or a girl, and then having kids, or no? Okay.
No way.
Okay. So what are your goals with dating, I suppose? Are you clearly are fine with monogamy. You did it for 9 years or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it definitely like works for people. I think that however somebody like chooses to date, the type of relationship they have, it's completely, even if somebody's in a monogamous relationship, that monogamous relationship isn't going to be the same as somebody else's monogamous relationship. Right. You know what I mean? But I just don't see monogamy as like a realistic thing for me. I feel like I talk about in my stand-up and like my daily life and on social media all the time that like I hate being single. I really like being single.
It's
the moments
great,
where
right?
I feel lonely, the moments where I feel lonely, they suck. But I get to do whatever I want. I live by myself.
Yeah.
Like that freedom it's something I require. And I just feel like it would be a very specific kind of relationship for me to like feel that and feel supported, and then also have like being able to go to open mics, 4 to 5 nights a week, and then, have several shows and have projects going on and being able to do that.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. It's funny because people that shit on us for being single were the ones that were like begging us to talk to them about what it's like during quarantine when they were miserable with their 5 kids or even just their husband, who are now their ex-husbands. But like, there is something to be said for that. And what you said about monogamy, we've talked about on this podcast before, is, and I'm curious as to know what your thoughts are, because you did it for so long. Do you think that there's like a time where you can be? Because I don't think it's natural. Look, the dog pops up right.
I know.
It's like, what are you guys talking about? Do you think there's a time where you can be monogamous? Do you think you outgrow the thing? Because there's a book called Sex at Dawn. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but they just say
I've heard of it. Yeah,
it's a great book. It says it's not natural for humans to be monogamous.
I try not to use the word normal. Like normal, I don't know her.
It's not natural. I mean? It's not natural. How about that?
Yeah, I guess natural is a different word. I don't know. I feel like for me personally, and I feel like a lot, I'm not doing this as like a generalization, but I do feel like a lot of queer people, especially like bisexuals, we feel maybe that if we were to be monogamous with a certain gender, then we're kind of suppressing or stifling, either our heterosexuality or our queerness, you know what I mean? And being able to like balance between those two and still feel fulfilled. I feel like that's why a lot of people choose to have like open relationships or be like polyamorous.
Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah. I mean, I think that, and I've talked about it before, we're going to come up with a contract, which is a new marriage, which is like a 7-year contract with an option to renew. And you put all your variables in there. It's like, okay, well, you're allowed one, October 14th, no questions asked, do whatever you got to do, be safe and whatever. and or every 14th day of a month, whatever it takes to make this work. That's no, I agree with that. What is it that you are attracted to? How do you decide whether it's a guy or a girl, what you're going to do, or how you're interested in someone? What is it, the attraction? Is it different for men and women, or?
The thing that I think is the same is I'm really attracted to like style or aesthetic.
Okay.
I know that's probably superficial, but as far as like a physical first attraction sort of thing, if I see somebody like dresses really well, or they have like a creative sort of like artistic
style, unique style
to them, yeah,
cool
that's
hair,
that's very attractive to me.
So if they buy clothes from Groupon Goods, we're out.
Yeah, no fast fashion for me. It has to be thrifted. Yeah.
Okay, well, this is over. No, I'm just kidding. What is it? What other things? And it's not superficial to think like that. What are the things? Are there like physical aspirations other than style that attracts you to, that you need in a guy or a woman?
A he, she, or a them. Yeah, I don't
or
know.
Them.
Or a
Yeah.
them. Another specifically superficial thing.
Sure. Or I mean, you brought up he, she, or them. Is that something that you also have dated or had a relationship with?
Have dated people who go by like she, them, but never like a
transgender,
fully non-binary person.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be shallow. I mean, what are the things? Obviously style is your first thing that attracts you to someone.
First one. I'm not super attracted to like very, very shy people. Like if I have to really carry the conversation, that bothers me. I'm honestly,
okay.
Yeah, like I'm honestly the worst. Like but also if like you talk over me and you're trying to be funnier than me and like louder, that's going to be a turnoff.
Sure.
If you're more stylish than me, that's a turnoff. If you cannot dress, that's a you have to be that perfect little
and
amount.
Here we are. And here's the answer for why we're single. No, I'm just kidding.
A lot of people say that about, I mean, I know it exists with straight people too, but they say it a lot with queer people, that I feel like with queer people, it's hard for us to commit because we're always looking for the next best thing.
Mm-hmm.
And
they say that for straight people too.
They do say that for straight people too, but I've had this conversation specifically with a lot of gay guys where they're like, yeah, it's hard for it's a stereotype with gay guys that it's hard for gay guys to like settle down and be in a committed relationship because they're always looking for the next best thing. But I totally empathize with that because I am so picky and I require so much attention. And then if you give it to me, like I'm annoyed and put off.
That's everybody.
Yeah.
It's just the thrill of the chase. That's kind of like almost the same concept that people have.
I'm broken. There's something wrong with me.
Well, we're comedians. That's what happens. Have you dated other comedians?
I've fucked comedians. I've never dated a comedian.
Fair enough. That's a good transition.
Yeah.
And why is that? I always say not to do it, but let's hear your version.
Well, I used to fuck comedians because I used to drink, but I don't do that anymore. I haven't fucked a comedian in almost 2 years.
Okay, that's good.
Thank
Progress.
you. Progress, yes.
I tell comedians all the time not to date other comedians or fuck them, to be honest with you. So.
Or fuck them, to be honest. I don't think I would, just because like I do. Some people like do comedy as like a job. Some people do it as a hobby. I really want to pursue this, and
sure.
I try to view it as a job and be as professional as possible. Otherwise, I will be an absolute train wreck.
Right.
And treat it like that, So I just try not to. I used to fuck, chefs at the restaurants that I worked at too, but I don't do that.
Also frowned upon. Yeah. Any job you're in, you don't shit where you work. End of story. That's why people don't understand with comics. And it's hard because we are creatives, but there are comedy adjacent or other creative people you can fuck. There's musicians, there's chefs, there's artists, there's all kinds of people, improv people, whatever, just not the same field.
Yeah. I don't consider improv comedy. So.
You just lost 7 potential suitors. No, I'm just kidding. I get it.
Well, I have a steady person that I've been hanging out with during COVID who does improv. So
Oh, I'm sure he or she is going to be very upset. But
he might be, because I'm probably going to cancel plans with him in like 30 as soon as we're done. He actually sent me a picture of the condoms that he bought for tonight, because he never buys condoms, and for the past summer, every time we fuck, we use the condoms from my stash.
Yeah.
Because men don't buy condoms, apparently.
Yeah, unless you have a scare, which I did. Now I have them in every pocket, in every pants, in every car, in everything I'm in, just in case.
Uh-oh. You had a scare?
Yeah, I talk about it on stage, but I'm clean. I'm clean, ladies. But now that sounded creepy. But anyway, the scare is over.
Open for business, ladies.
Yeah, open for business no, nothing. Yeah, it's just, I'm a hypochondriac sometimes too. But anyway, the other thing I want to touch upon before you let you go, sobriety dating. So I'm not sober, but I don't drink. But I also don't do a lot of things, drugs or anything either. I do drink now again during quarantine. I started to, but dating sober is a nightmare, right?
And it's
especially in Kansas City, I assume.
I mean,
not as bad as Wisconsin. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, but here's the other thing. What did I say? I like creative types. I like musicians. I like artists. These are all chefs. I like people who, work in the service industry. I can like dig somebody who works in the service industry. But they're all like, all of those people, all of those types are traditionally fucking alcoholics. Like, not just drinkers, but fucking alcoholics.
Right. And also substance users. Users and sometimes abusers. Yeah.
Mm-hmm, for sure. And like I partake in smoking drugs that are legal in some states from time to time, every day of my life. But like, that is different than binging and blacking out drunk, which I feel like I said, a lot of musicians and creative types do.
Well, and being 420 friendly, like they put on the apps, is like something. I've dated women who smoke a lot, and I don't care. I used to smoke every day when I was younger too. I just don't do it anymore because I get too paranoid. But dating when you are sober, you also face the other side where you meet other people who are sober, whether it's whatever their reason is. It's almost not a good match. So my other question is, do you date? Like, I'll date people that drink a lot, and I'm okay with that. Are you okay with people that it's just you're drinking coffee when they're drinking?
Well, like, before COVID, I worked in the service industry. I was working in a restaurant, and then I was, producing 2 shows and going to mics every night of the week. Right. So I was surrounded by booze 24/7, you know what I mean? So it's never been a trigger for other people to drink around me. But for a first date, whenever we're getting to know each other, like, it's already difficult enough to like go to a loud ass bar and powwow and like try to like, get to know each other. Right. And then it's a different thing whenever you're on like your 4th shot in beer, and I'm like there with my soda water and bitters, like, do you have any siblings? You know what I mean? It's not fun for me. But like, I'd be cool with it if it was like, music or like an art gallery or like a movie, you know what I mean? Like, just something else. But if we're just sitting there on a first date, you're just like lacking creativity too. Like, you're not putting in the initiative to like woo me, and you should kind of want to woo me.
Well, the other downside of that for you is if you have to do those things where you're not stuck with someone for an hour and a half too, right? On a first date. So you almost have to meet for coffee or a drink, because what if you're like, okay, well, now we're at this concert and I already know 2 songs in that you're a complete asshole. Like, you can't just leave.
I do a lot of screening before I go on a first date.
Same. That's the way to do it.
I don't have very many terrible first dates because I do a lot of screening for it. Yeah.
Like I'll always tell people, and what I tell other people on the podcast to do, and this was an episode with Kristen Robinson where we talked about it, where she just says, just meet 15 minutes, get it over with. I'm like, I don't want to do that because I want to know their Instagram. I want to know like their name.
Thank you.
Because we're very searchable. I'm always like, here's my information. And I understand the safety thing for me, like for women to be like, I'm meeting a stranger. It's like, well, I mean, no big deal, but I'm one of the top 300 comedians in the Chicagoland area. So there's only 300. But I'm just saying, like, they can look us up and I can't see anything about them. I'm already like red flag. Like, unless they're like, I'm hidden because I have a child or whatever. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. But I don't know what you look like. I don't know, like, if you're in this Church of Scientology and this meeting is just, you have a secondary. I mean, that's the way I fucking think. So I'm like,
I know.
And for
Oh,
women,
I'm
it's
right
even
there.
harder. But some people are like, and that's funny because we had a life coach on, or whatever Kristen Robinson, and she says, just get it done, 15 minutes in and out. And I'm like, fuck that. I want to talk but women don't like that either when you're talking back and forth for like 3 months and they're like, are we ever going to meet?
Yeah. Well, I don't want to see, this is why I'm still single, because I don't text about my day. Like, I could not think of a worse thing to talk about than like what I did that day.
Yeah.
How my day at work was.
Yeah.
I have no desire to have that conversation. Like, I want to
Agreed.
know like your interests. I want to know like where you live, if you live alone, if you have a car, what you do for work, what you do for fun. Like, that's all I care
Yeah,
about. It's
exactly.
Like, and if it sounds good and like what kind of music, if that like sounds good, we'll meet up. But for every date that I go on, I cancel like 10. You know what I mean? Like, I'll make plans for it and then I'll be like, yeah, I got asked to do this Zoom show last minute and now I'm feeling kind of beat. Could we reschedule?
Oh, I never cancel. I just never make the plans. And then when they cancel, I'm like, yes. Like, I get so, I'm like, now I have a free fucking night to like, I'm like, I'm going to write. And then I just end up eating instead. But,
oh, I'm not going to write tonight. I'm going to order in food and probably watch Practical Magic again.
I don't know what that is, but I already know I don't like it. So.
Oh my God, why? Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman. They're so hot. It's like
love Nicole Kidman.
90s. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my God, and she's like a sex pot in it. She's a witch and she's got like tattoos and shit. Ugh.
Okay.
Mwah.
Does she have khaki shorts in that episode or no?
No, but she's got a little green tube top. Ooh, she's so hot. She's so hot in that movie.
She has khaki shorts in a movie called Dead Calm. And I do remember that because that's like, there's a sex scene in there where it's like kind of, I don't know if it's a sex scene now that I think about it as much as like a guy taking advantage of her. But but it's, I remember that scene because that's when I was like, I love her. And I was like 12 years old and I learned about my penis. But it was the khaki shorts in that as well. Uh-oh. We lost you there. Oh, there we are. What, did you say something?
I think we might have a poor connection right now. Are you moving? Am I moving?
I can see you now. Did you hear my Dead Calm story?
I heard that you were just like said something about her khaki shorts and then you said that it probably wasn't a love scene, that it was a guy taking advantage of her, and then you just froze and I thought you were just deep in thought about that scene.
No, I was talking about, I told him about watching that scene with her khaki shorts and he pulls them off and it's kind of nudity and I think it's Mark Ruffalo. Actually, I think it is. And I was like 12 years old or 13 and that's how I discovered like a boner. So
yeah.
So I love Nicole Kidman to this day.
I would have had a clit dick during that scene too.
What are your deal breakers in dating in Kansas with he, she, thems? What are you like, I'm not doing that again or never?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like any leftist person would just be like sexist, racist, homophobic. Those are obvious deal breakers. But like something like a little bit more specific.
Yeah, I mean, and how racist? Like, what if they're just racist against Middle Eastern? Is that okay? Like, are you like, they did do 9/11, so I can say that I'm Middle Eastern. Relax, we're good. People are calling in.
I would say across the board, just like
no racism
on the racism.
Okay.
Like not like. Let's save the playful racism about like somebody within your own race. You know, let's save that for like a couple of dates because like I'm white. Like I don't know if I can laugh at that yet. Do I trust you? Can I laugh at that?
I just think this is a whole plot to cancel you. No, what are the other deal breakers?
So bad. I really, really want to get canceled. I've been like trying to brainstorm ideas of like how to get canceled.
Marty DeRosa has a joke. I think he wrote on the first week of Twitter, or right when the first quarantine. He's like, now I know what it feels. All the shows were getting canceled. He's like, now I know what it feels like to be canceled when quarantine first started. But I think he wrote it. We talked about it on the podcast yesterday. But anyway, what are your other deal breakers other than not being woke enough?
Well, now it's official. No adult braces. No adult braces.
Okay. What if they only have them for like another 3 weeks?
No adult braces.
All right. Fair enough.
Not even Invisalign. I'm scarred.
What's your age demo and like kids, no kids? What are your things on that?
I'm fine if you have kids. If you're a shitty dad and I can tell, no. I fucked a chef this summer who has partial custody, shared custody with his ex-wife of his kids, and his kids like barely visit him because they don't want to. I could tell, and he doesn't even have. He's like a very well-known chef in Kansas City and lives in like a giant apartment and doesn't even have bedrooms for his sons. They sleep on his couch.
Yeah, bad dad. Bad dad. No
know that
braces.
until the next morning after I fucked him. I was like, I fucked a bad dad.
You're like, do you know what it's going to be like for your kids? I know. This is their future. You're like, this is what it's like.
I was like, I got to sleep in your bed. You treat me better than your kids.
Okay, so they can have 12 kids as long as they're they
have a bedroom. Yeah.
They have a bedroom for their kids. That's fair enough.
I'm cool with kids. I'm age range. I would definitely date somebody older as opposed to younger. Like 25 is, I'm 29, I'll be 30 in December. 25 is kind of that's even kind of pushing it. Yeah.
Guy or girl. Okay.
And then I'll go up to like 55, 60.
Oh, yikes. Okay. That's pretty impressive.
That is so judgy.
I'm an old fuck, so I was like, "Oh wow, all right, that's good."
Judgy just now.
If I'm 55 and this is going to be me in the future, you gave me hope because I'm like, shit, in 2 years. No, I'm just kidding. I'm gonna be able to get a 30-year-old in Kansas. So.
Oh my gosh. No, what
about so you're okay with bad? What if they're good dads but bad grandfathers? Is that okay? Like he's really mean to his kids, but oh boy, like this 60-year-old chef.
But he just likes to spoil his grandkids. You know, like he like really lives for their grandfather.
He's a really good granddad. That sounds like it's a win. I mean, right?
I don't know. As long as he's spoiling me, I don't care.
He's got bets for his grandkids, but his regular kids, they're not even allowed in the premises after 10 p.m. Okay.
It was so alarming. Like I woke up the next day and I was like, so where's your kids' rooms? And he's like, oh no, they just sleep on the couch. Like it's pretty big. And I was like, yeah, it's a pretty big couch, but they stay with you for like 2 weeks at a time.
Yeah. And they're 22.
No, but they're like 10 and 13 or something like that. Okay. Give those boys their own bedroom. And it's not like it was like a financial thing.
He's got money.
Appalled.
Yeah.
I was appalled. Yeah, he's got money. I was appalled.
That is funny.
If I'm on a dating app and he says that he likes like Imagine Dragons, 311, Slightly
Music.
Stupid, then that's like a no-go. If he says that Infinite Jest is his favorite book, fuck no.
David Foster Wallace, that's the only book I couldn't finish. But yeah, that's a bad book.
No, because here's the thing. If you date a guy who has ever read and liked Infinite Jest, they're going to say to you, what, you've never read Infinite Jest? And then you have to deal with them then retelling you what it is. Missing.
Oh my God, that's
why
so
whenever
fun.
you said each of these movies where you're like, I've never seen that, I haven't been like, what? You've never seen that movie? Because that's my biggest pet peeve too. Like, yeah, people don't consume content like other people. Like I watch so many movies. I watch so many shows. I'm not going to expect somebody else to like have no life and be a hermit like I am. Like people do other things.
Agreed. I get it. I believe you. I'm on your side. And I agree. I do like that rule.
Okay.
We're out of time. Brittany,
Right.
This was so fun. Seriously, you're awesome. I knew that when I saw you. I loved your set, and I was like, I need to get her on the podcast.
Oh, thank you. This was so much fun. I could talk about my horrible dating life.
We'll get you back on for sure. But where can people find out more about you other than in Kansas City's video dating apps?
I'm most active probably on Instagram, and it's just BT from KC. Brittany Tylander from BT from KC. I have a link tree in my bio, and it'll have my links for my show, my TikTok, everything. You can find it all there.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Brittany, and enjoy your video, your movie tonight with Nicole Kidman by yourself.
I got plans to cancel. Yeah.
I know you got plans to cancel, poor guy. And we will definitely check in with you again. Thank you so much, Brittany. You guys, please check out Brittany Tylander. And thank you all for listening or watching another episode of Singles Only Podcast.
By now, you know that I'm a lawyer, right? Everyone does. And I don't really practice anymore, although I still have a license. But when I need a lawyer, and I do often need a lawyer, I contact my friend Scott Shapiro. If you're injured on the job or need compensation, you're entitled to payment for more than you know. A lot of times, companies will try to settle with you so you don't get a lawyer because they don't want you to know all the monies you're entitled to. Scott Shapiro has been helping injured workers for over 20 years. In addition, his firm handles multiple other cases, including personal injury cases and entertainment law issues. He has handled a lot of my entertainment stuff as well as those of guests on the show and listeners. So you need a lawyer, sure, you can consult me. But if you want a free consultation from the best, don't take any chances. Contact my friend, Scott Shapiro. His number, 312-648-8800, or check out his website, scottshapirolegal.com. There are other Scott Shapiros. Make sure you call the right one, 312-648-8800, or scottshapirolegal.com. Tell him I sent you, and he will be very happy.
I'm still standing.